Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 4th of February and again this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice intended whatsoever. So it's only to show you how I use my technical analysis using real life examples and how you can apply it to your trading. Today we'll start to have a look at Nvidia, and here for quite a long time ago I added this support line here around 113.25, and Nvidia yesterday that got hit by the news with the new tariffs got hit hard and tested that, spiked a little bit below but bounced towards the end of the session, but still it could drop lower. The downtrend has kind of started, so let's see until at least the earnings is coming out. On the weekly you can see we are actually in a bearish trend here. It's not yet confirmed, RSI is still in a positive sentiment, but we are just above 40 and there's been divergence for quite some time. On the daily we are in a negative sentiment, so it's really in a bearish trend at the moment. It needs to get back above 130 to really turn around on that. On the S&P 500, well, the S&P 500 had a fairly strong session after dipping lower last night. We are still above the clouds. We are still in a positive sentiment. There's no divergence. We could see higher levels later, but if we get below 5,900, then we could see it moving lower. Pre-market, we are down a little bit, about 0.7%, so a little bit of weakness coming back into the market, but not as bad as was feared last night. And also Nasdaq bounced strongly from the lower part of the cloud, just above the key support here at 20,974, so a fairly strong closing to the session, but now it seems to be that we are getting a little bit of here pre-market getting under pressure again, so let's see how it will fare this evening. The Dow Jones index also fairly strong ending, only down about 0.25% on the day, still uptrend, but we have this bearish engulfing top and reversal pattern there, so it's a little bit it needs to take out that for further upside potential, and here pre-market we are a little bit lower again, so I think that Dow Jones at least could be a little bit under pressure. Before we move on to the European markets, let's have a look at the Seng that was up 2.8% as we speak, confirming bullish trend, bullish RSI, positive RSI above the cloud. And next step is 21,070, where there's some resistance that will be key, but I think it will push higher. So fairly strong out there in Hong Kong. European markets, well, the EuroStoxx 50 actually formed this. Well, it's not a true or a textbook top and reversal pattern, but it was a negative candle here, gap lower. But there's no divergence on the RSI, so I think it will try to crawl higher towards the end of the week. But let's see here, pre-market we are up about 0.5% or so, so bouncing a little bit here. We can see that the future actually dipped to the 5,100 and then bounced, and so that's a sign of some strength in the European markets. I think we could bounce higher, and later we will see that also rates in Europe dropped a little bit. DAX also gapped lower, but here pre-market we are up about 0.25% or something, so we're still in a bullish trend. We could see it tested 21,000 and the lower rising trend line. We'll still be in a bullish trend. There's positive sentiment on the RSI, so still fairly strong there. And here we can see we are at the moment opening a little bit higher. We are trading higher here at the open. A strong bounce in euro dollar after dipping to almost 101 level. Very strong bounce indeed. But we are still in a negative sentiment and a bearish trend. I think we will see it sliding lower in the coming weeks. We can also see here on the weekly that you can see we are in a bearish trend. But it was a strong bounce, and that also counts for something. So we could bounce a little bit. And what I will do, and also get an idea, I think we could see it here. I think we'll bounce up to the 61.8 at 103.80, maybe up to 104 and a half area here around these Fibonacci levels, and then resume a downtrend. Cable, sterling dollar. Sterling dollar spiked to the 61.8 retracement, 122.60, then bounce. If it takes out 125.40, well, then we could see a push up to around 127, maybe 127 and a half, where we have some strong resistance, where the moving average is 100 and 200 coming down, and they are both declining slightly. So there is an upside pressure, and the same with 55 moving average. So I think we will see a slightly lower in the coming days and weeks. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, needs to close above 62 and reverse that. On the Euro Sterling, that was massive move yesterday, really quite a volatile. So spiked to the support here at 82.60 and then bounced, and I think we'll see it being range bound here in this area around 83 for some time. But what is key is also that the RSI closed below 40, so we're actually in a negative sentiment. So that was really a killer of the potential uptrend there for Euro Sterling. In the broader picture, it actually you can see stayed in this medium term downtrend picture here, or scenario, and RSI closed below 60 threshold, so still negative sentiment on the RSI. Dollar, yen, and let's just zoom in on it here. That is still in this bouncing mode after bouncing from this 50%, which is fairly unusual, at 153.75. If it takes out 156.75, well, then expect uptrend to resume. If it takes out this support here, 153.75, we are looking at 152.55 at least, possibly lower, but still positive sentiment on the RSI, indicating further bounce, but keep an eye on those levels. We have Euro yen that spiked lower, and let me remove this one here. Spiked lower to the 786 retracement, 158. And then a very strong bounce. And what I will do then to see, okay, where I can bounce to, then I would add this to, I know there's a lot of lines on the chart, but it is as a guiding tool. We could bounce up to just below the cloud area, maybe spike up to the 61.8 retracement, 161.75, but we are in a bearish trend. However, what is key to note is that we're still in a positive sentiment. It never closed below 40 threshold, so maybe we could bounce further, but let's see. It will be a bit of a struggle to at least get up to this level. So trust the trend. We are in a bearish trend. The Aussie yen also spiked below 95 and below this support level here, but close to above. And I think we could see a bounce further today. A little bit of a bounce further today, possibly up to the 61.8 retracement and 97.18, and then I think it will get tired again and slide lower. Sterling yen bounced just above just around the 190 level, just about the support here, and could bounce back towards the 61.8 retracement, 194.85, but there will be some strong resistance, and the RSI is still in a negative sentiment, so we are under pressure. But let's see if it takes out and closes above 184.85. Well, then we have formed this double bottom-like pattern that could send it higher. Aussie dollar, also strong bounce from the falling trend line there. That is merely just a guideline after it broke out. So that is actually some interesting stuff to watch, I would say. We could bounce a little bit further, but it really needs to get above a 63.40 level here, 35.40 level, to really establish a bullish trend. Otherwise, I think we will slide lower in the coming days and weeks. We have the negative sentiment on the RSI. You see it did not close above a 60 threshold, got rejected. If it gets back below 40, well, then downtrend will resume. Dollar Canada, a lot of movements in the Canadian dollar. Massive spike up as we talked about yesterday, but it was already collapsing, and now we are back here around the 145, 144, and I think it will be caught range bound here again, but keep an eye on it. 142.75 around that level. There's some strong support, which also that we have cloud support, and we have the 55 moving average coming up, but we are in a bullish trend, and also RSI actually closed above 60 threshold despite showing divergence. So I would be very cautious, and it is very political at the moment. So be careful with dollar Canada. Same with sterling Canada, trading around the 38.2 retracement at 179.20. Could dip lower, but I think it will slowly crawl back here above 180 again. But that was a massive spike up, actually closed and then collapsed. So it's a sign of sellers are back in control here, but I think we will be trading around the 179, 180 for quite some time. Swiss franc, Euro Swiss spiked to the support here at 93.37. That little spike down there actually meant something, apparently. I would have guessed that it could have dropped to this one here, because that's where we also have a little bit of a cloud spot. However, a strong spike and a strong bounce back above the rising trend line here, and RSI is still in a positive sentiment. I think that we will see it being in range bound around 94, 94 and a half for quite some time. If it starts moving above these levels here, 94.75, I think we will see a test of the previous peaks here, just above 95, and then it could resume uptrend, taking out 93.35. I would say we need to get below 93 and a quarter. Bearish trend has been established. Dollar Swiss, very volatile yesterday also, as we talked about, spiked higher, but didn't close above the resistance here at 91.15, which was quite interesting. It is a key thing. It needs to close above that to really establish a bullish trend. RSI is still positive sentiment, so it should have done that, but it didn't, and I would stay cautious a little bit until I actually see that. And if it does close above that level and push higher above 92, once again, expect a move up towards a 93, 94 level. And finally, the dollar index. The dollar index, spiked higher, just below 110. We are in a positive sentiment, but we need RSI to get back above the upper falling trend line and the 60 threshold for really establishing a bullish trend. And we actually closed below the support here. No, sorry, the resistance, and then it was support. So we are back below here at 108, 108.36. This morning we are trading just above. So let's see where the day ends. I will sit back a little bit and watch it to unfold. Gold had also a volatile day, spiked higher to 28.32, almost up to the 1.764 projection that we talked about at 2,835 and a half. It is a little bit stressed. However, there's no divergence. It cancelled that yesterday. There's no divergence. We could see gold crawling higher in the coming weeks. I just added this Fibonacci here just in case it was taking out the lower rising trend line, but it doesn't do it at the moment, so let's just remove, because there's so much to watch that anyway. We are in a bullish trend. We could push higher towards 28, 60, 70 level. Silver is struggling a little bit, but it is above the 31 resistance, and next step is to take it above the cloud and $32. And I think we'll see that we have established a bullish and positive sentiment on the RSI is supporting that bullish picture. Copper spiked to the 61.8 retracement at 4.18 and a quarter, and has since bounced. If we can get it back here above the 200 moving average again and get RSI back about 60 threshold, and I think we will, then we will push to the 447 and 450 level. There's some strong resistance up here, but we are in a bullish sentiment, and I think we will push higher. On the energy side, we saw WTI crude oil spiking towards the $75, but then collapsed, and sellers are back in control, pushing lower here, and I think we could see it pushing even lower. So what I will do, I will put back my Fibonacci levels. That one was not placed correctly. There we are. We are likely to move down to a 71 level at the 786 retracement right there. And I think we'll see that fairly shortly here, possibly this morning. If it starts pushing lower, well, then we could be looking at these levels down here, 68.5, 70 again. So that was a really a turnaround yesterday. Brent crude oil also pushed lower below the 61.8 retracement and support at 76. I think we'll see it testing 786 retracement, 74.25, possibly pushing lower. This one is obsolete. So some support there. But we could see it pushed all the way down to 72 levels again, and possibly lower if RSI closes back below 40 threshold. Sorry. The Dutch TTF gas, well, it has opened the day a little bit lower. So is it forming a top reversal pattern? But there's positive sentiment on the RSI with now no divergence, indicating we could see higher levels, and there's still room up to, as we have talked to about so many times, up to 56, 80 levels. The Henry Hub gas is in a bouncing mode, but is struggling a little bit, but should get up to around $3.50, and with the 55 moving average here, but it is under pressure. If it takes out 2.99 again at this support here around 2.97, we could see a further collapse in US nat gas prices. US 10-year Treasury yield dipped below the support once again at 450. It was actually dipping below when we talked yesterday, dipped a little bit further below the 55 moving average, and then a strong bounce. That's a sign I think it will start crawling higher towards the 467 here and the right shoulder. And if it does close above that, well, then this potential shoulder pattern will be demolished. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, I think we will see it pushing lower to the 430 level here in the coming weeks. So really some key levels to watch out for. The two-year Treasury yields still around the oh, that was the wrong one. Sorry about that. Here we are, two-year Treasury yield still above 415 support level. And moving on to the European yields, here we have the euro yields that dipped lower to 236 yesterday, spiked below the falling trend line, spiked below the 786 retracement, 238, and then bounced. And I think that is it. I think it will start slowly crawling higher here in the coming days and coming weeks. If it takes out yesterday's lows, well, the 230 support here could be tested and taken out. The UK 10-year, well, around 447, there's some support here, as you can see, dip below the 61.8 retracement of the entire uptrend there. Try to close this gap. If it does close below that gap at 444, well, then there's potential down to 435. If it starts bouncing strongly here the next couple of days, then we could see it pushing higher, and I think we will see that. But let's see that. Let's talk about it when it actually do occur. Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin had also a volatile session yesterday, spiked lower to below 92,000. 91,178, and then a very strong bounce. So still keeping it up here, still in a, well, you can say we have a short-term bearish trend here, lower low, lower high, lower low. If it can take out the 108,000 around that level again, then we are back in bullish trend. Ethereum, on the other hand, got really hammered hard yesterday, dipped all the way down below 2200. Strong bounce, but still under pressure, and I think it will be under pressure for some time. Seems like that is not the flavor of the month at the moment, Ethereum, but that's how it is. It really needs to start moving back above 3000 to establish something that could look like a bullish trend. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you later.